You've probably heard about the Mahabharata war, right? That huge clash. But what happened after the dust settled?
That's what we're diving into today, the bit people don't talk about as much.
Exactly. We're looking at the final chapters, Lord Krishna, the Pandav brothers, what happened years after their victory.
Yeah, it's a story full of, well, surprising twists, karma coming home to roost, and some really tough choices.
Curses, tragic endings, and figuring out what victory really means. Not just winning the war, but maybe something deeper.
Right, we're drawing from the Masala Parva, the Mahaprasthanika Parva, and some modern takes on it all.
So prepare to maybe question some ideas about righteousness, divine justice, all that.
It definitely makes you think.
Okay, so Kurukshetra. The war's over, Pandavas won. But it's not exactly a happy ending, is it?
No, not at all. The scale of death was just staggering. Millions dead. The whole landscape devastated.
Can you just imagine the feeling? Winning, but at what cost? The grief must have been overwhelming.
Absolutely. The sources describe this pall hanging over everything. Victory felt, well, hollow in many ways.
And right into the steps, Gandhari, mother of the Kauravas, especially Duryodhana.
Yeah, her grief is immense, and it's directed squarely at Krishna.
Even though she's devoted to him.
Yes, but her anger and sorry for her 100 sons just boils over. She blames him. Says he could have stopped the war but didn't. A silent witness, she calls him.
Wow. And she curses him.
She does. In this moment of intense pain, she curses Krishna. Says that in 36 years, his city, Dwarka, will be destroyed.
And his clan, the Yadavas.
They'll perish too. Not by enemies, but fighting amongst themselves. Internal strife.
That's brutal. And Krishna's reaction?
He just accepts it. Calmly. Says it's the unfolding of his own human karma, in a way.
He accepts a curse like that, even as a divine being.
It's profound, isn't it? It suggests these laws of karma bind everyone, even avatars. It really sets a grim tone.
So fast forward 36 years. Does it happen?
It does. Exactly as she predicted. Ominous signs start appearing in Dwarka. It used to be this prosperous city.
Yeah. What kind of signs?
Well, Krishna's divine items, the Sudarshana chakra, the Panchajanya conch, they disappear. His chariot, Balarama's plow weapon too.
Huh. And the city itself.
Things start going wrong, pests appear, people become more sinful, disrespectful, nightmares become common. It's like a decay sets in.
And isn't there a story about Krishna's son, Samba?
Ah, yes. The prank. That really kicks things into high gear. Samba decides to mess with the Sapta Rishis, the 7 great sages.
What does he do?
He disguises himself as a pregnant woman, hides an iron mace under his clothes, and asks the sages to predict the baby's gender.
Oh boy. That sounds like a bad idea.
It was. The sages see right through it. Kanva Maharishi in particular gets furious and curses Samba.
What's the curse?
That he will give birth to an iron bolt, the very mace he hid, and that bolt will destroy his entire clan.
And he actually gives birth to it, an iron mace.
He does. It's terrifying for the Yadavas. They're told to grind it into powder and throw it in the Prahas Sea.
There's always a but, isn't there?
Right. There's a small triangular piece they just can't grind down,
Right.
So they throw that into the sea too.
And that piece matters, I'm guessing.
Critically. The powder washes ashore and causes this specific type of grass, araka grass, to grow like crazy.
And the triangle piece.
Swallowed by a fish. Later, a hunter named Jara catches the fish, finds the metal piece, and thinks, hey, this would make a good arrowhead.
No, Jara, remember?
Literally, Krishna knows the end is near. He urges the Yadavas to go to the Prabha Sea for purification rites.
But they don't, do they?
No, they end up getting drunk instead.
Yeah.
Massively intoxicated. Then old rivalries surface.
Like between Satyaki and Kritavarma, they fought on opposite sides in the war?
Exactly. An argument breaks out. Satyaki actually decapitates Kritavarma.
Yeah.
Then Kritavarma's friends retaliate.
And Krishna's son gets caught in the crossfire?
Pradyumna, yeah.
Yeah.
He's killed in the brawl. It just descends into chaos.
And Krishna, he's watching this happen.
He is, seeing his clan destroy itself. Maybe picks up some of that araka grass. It turns into iron maces in the hands of the drunken Yadavas. Instantly.
Oh, wow. So the curse.
Fulfills itself. They use these maces to kill each other. The entire clan wiped out right before Krishna's eyes. Just as Gandhari prophesied.
Devastating. Just absolutely devastating.
After seeing all that, Krishna decides his time in this mortal form is done.
He prepares for his own departure.
Right. He asks Arjuna to come and look after the surviving Yadava women.
And what about his brother, Balarama?
Balarama is heartbroken by the destruction. He sits in meditation, uses yoga to consciously leave his body.
And the sources say something remarkable happens.
They do. A giant thousand-headed serpent Adisesha, the serpent Vishnu rests on, emerges from his mouth and glides into the sea, signifying his return to his divine form.
So then Krishna, how does his end come?
He's resting under a tree, just meditating. His foot is exposed.
And the hunter, Jara,
Yes, Jara. He's hunting nearby, sees the foot, mistakes it for a deer.
and shoots it with the arrow, the one made from the mace piece.
Exactly, the poisonous arrow.
Yeah.
Jara is horrified when he realizes what he's done, absolutely distraught.
But Krishna comforts him.
He does, tells him not to worry, that it was destined to happen this way. Then Krishna ascends to Vaikuntha, his divine home.
There's often a connection made here, isn't there, to Krishna's past life as Rama.
Yes, many interpretations link this to Rama killing Vali from behind a tree. It's seen as Krishna's own karma playing out.
Even for an avatar. Shows how inescapable karma is in this worldview.
Absolutely. And as Krishna leaves the mortal plane, something else happens.
Dwarka.
The city itself. A massive wave comes and just engulfs it, submerges the whole magnificent city into the sea.
Which is fascinating because archaeologists have actually found things, right?
They have. Submerged settlements, artifacts off the coast of modern Dwarka, some dating way back. It adds this incredible layer, blurring myth and potential history.
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay, so Krishna's gone, Dwarka's gone. What about Arjuna? He was supposed to protect the women.
He tries. He tries to escort the survivors to Hastinapura, but something's changed.
Changed how?
He's older, yes, but it's more than that. He finds he can't even defend them from common bandits. They seize the women.
Arjuna, the greatest warrior, failing like that.
It crushes him. He feels like he's lost all his power, his skill, everything that defined him.
So what does he do?
Goes to sage Vyasa, utterly depressed.
And Vyasa tells him.
Essentially, your work here is done. Vyasa explains that the Pandavas have fulfilled their life purpose. Their time as rulers, as warriors, it's over. It's time to renounce the kingdom.
Time to let go.
Exactly. Arjuna takes this message back to Yudhishthira, and they all agree. Draupadi too.
So they step down. Who takes over?
Yudhishthira crowns Parikshit, who is Arjuna's grandson of Abhimanyu's son. He entrusts the kingdom to him, with Yusu, Dhritarashtra's son, who fought for the Pandavas, acting as a caretaker.
And then, what do the Pandavas and Draupadi do?
They begin their final journey, the Mahaprastanika Parva. They leave Hastinapura behind.
Just walk away from it all.
Completely. They head north towards the Himalayas. Their goal is Mount Sumeru, the gateway to heaven.
Are they alone?
Almost. A stray dog starts following them and stays with them for the entire journey.
A dog. Interesting. And do they make any stops?
Yes, they revisit important places. They go near the Red Waters, maybe the Brahmaputra River.
And doesn't Arjuna have to give something back?
Right. By the sea, Agni, the god of fire, appears. He tells Arjuna his mission is over, and he needs to return the divine bow, Gandiva, and the inexhaustible quivers.
The weapons that made him legendary.
The very same. Arjuna does as he's told. They also visit the ruins of submerged Dwarka, which must have been incredibly poignant.
A final goodbye, then towards the mountain.
Northward, yeah. Towards Rishikesh, then deeper into the Himalayas, aiming for Mount Sumeru.
But the journey takes its toll, doesn't it?
It does. As the climb gets steeper, harder, they start to fall. One by one, they die.
And Yudhishthira explains why each one falls, like their specific flaw.
Yes, it's a really stark accounting of karma, even subtle flaws. Draupadi falls first. Yudhishthira says that even though she was a devoted wife to all five, she had a slight, special partiality for Arjuna. Maybe even thoughts about Karna. Enough to hold her back.
Wow, it's that specific. Who's next?
Nakula. His flaw was vanity, being too proud of his good looks.
And Sahadeva?
Smugness. He believed himself wisest of all, even if he didn't boast about it. That inner pride.
Then Bhima, the strong man.
His downfall was gluttony, eating without thinking of others, and also a kind of pride in his strength, enjoying his enemy's suffering.
Okay, so that leaves Arjuna.
Arjuna falls last among the brothers. His flaw, again, vanity, pride in being the world's greatest archer. And maybe insecurity, too, that hint of wanting to eliminate rivals like Ekalavya.
So everyone falls except Yudhishthira.
Yes, only Yudhishthira, the embodiment of Dharma, makes it further, with just the dog still beside him.
So Yudhishthira and the dog reach the final stage. What happens then?
This is the ultimate test. Indra, king of the gods, shows up in his celestial chariot.
To take him to heaven.
Yes, offering him the incredibly rare honor of entering heaven in his physical body because of his unmatched righteousness.
But the dog.
Right, Yudhishthira says, I can't go without my companion. He points to the dog who's been loyal the whole way.
And Indra's reaction.
Indra says, "No way, dogs aren't allowed in heaven. They're considered impure."
But Yudhishthira won't budge.
Not an inch. He says he cannot abandon someone who has shown him such devotion. "I shall never give up such a one till my own life is at an end." His loyalty to the dog outweighs even heaven.
That's powerful.
Incredibly. And at that moment, the dog transforms.
It wasn't just a dog.
No, it was Dharma, the god of justice, Yudhishthira's own father in divine form, testing him one last time.
Wow. So he passed the test.
He passed with flying colors. Dharma praises his unwavering commitment to righteousness and compassion, even for a humble animal. It echoes earlier tests, showing his core nature.
Okay, so Yudhishthira finally enters Devaloka, heaven, accompanied by Dharma. What does he find? Is it bliss?
Well, not exactly what he expected. It's actually a massive shock.
How so?
He sees Duryodhana there, and Dushasana, and Shakuni, his mortal enemies, the ones who caused so much pain, sitting there looking arrogant and glorious.
What? How is that possible? He must have been furious.
Completely bewildered and angry, he demands to know where his own brothers are, where Draupadi is, where Karna is, the virtuous ones.
Can the answer?
He's led away from the glorious part of heaven down a dark, foul-smelling path. It's described as filled with screams and moans, worse than the Kurukshetra battlefield.
Is this hell?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
And there he hears their voices. Draupadi, his brothers, Karna, all seemingly in torment.
But why? Why are the righteous suffering and the Kauravas in glory?
Yama, the god of death and justice, explains. It's about cosmic balance, fulfilling roles, and facing consequences.
Okay, break that down. Why were the Kauravas in heaven?
Because as Kshatriyas warriors, they died fighting bravely on the battlefield for their side, fulfilling their dharma in that specific, martial way. That earned them a place, at least initially.
And the Pandavas and Karna? Why the brief suffering?
Each had some unrighteous act on their record. Karna insulted Draupadi. Bhima hit Duryodhana below the belt. Arjuna killed Karna unfairly. Nakula and Sahadeva went along with some of these things.
Even Yudhishthira, Mr. Righteous.
Even him. His big sin was the lie, or the deceptive truth, he told Dronacharya about Ashwatthama being dead, referring to the elephant, not the sun. It broke Drona's will to fight. That deception had consequences.
So everyone has to face the music for their actions, however small.
Exactly. But seeing his family suffering, Yudhishthira makes another profound choice.
What does he do?
He refuses to go back to the pleasant part of heaven. He says, "I will stay here in hell with my loved ones." He chooses solidarity and compassion over his own comfort.
And that changes things.
That's the pivotal moment. Indra appears again. It's revealed this whole scene, the suffering, was partly an illusion, a final test for Yudhishthira.
A test of what?
A test of his inner state. Indra points out Yudhishthira still carried hidden resentment, hatred for Duryodhana. By choosing to stay in hell out of love for his family, Yudhishthira confronts and purges that last bit of negativity within himself.
Ah, so it wasn't just about external actions, but internal purity.
Precisely. This is called Jaya, inner victory, conquering the self. It's contrasted with Vijaya, the outer victory, winning the war. Yudhishthira achieved Vijaya on the battlefield, but he achieves Jaya right here by purifying his soul.
That's a really important distinction.
It is. And Yama reinforces the idea. Everyone experiences consequences, good and bad. The Pandavas' suffering was brief because their good deeds vastly outweighed the bad. It wasn't cancellation. It was experiencing the effect, however short, before moving to their rightful place. You know, this whole idea of a single point of failure, even for the greatest figures, it reminds you of other stories, doesn't it?
Like what?
Well, the most famous parallel is probably Achilles' heel from Greek mythology.
Oh, right. The idea of a vulnerable spot.
Exactly. A universal motif. Achilles is dipped in the river Styx by his mother Thetis to make him invincible.
But she holds him by the heel, so that spot doesn't get wet.
And that's his one weakness. Later, Paris shoots him there with a poisoned arrow, and boom, down goes the great Achilles.
And you see that in the Mahabharata, too, with Duryodhana.
You do. It's slightly different, but the same principle. Gandhari, with her powerful gaze built up from years of being blindfolded, wants to make Duryodhana invincible by looking at his naked body.
But he gets embarrassed, right?
Yeah, he covers his groin and thighs area with a leaf, so her gaze doesn't fall there. That becomes his vulnerable spot.
And Krishna knew this.
Seems so. He advises Bhima to strike Duryodhana on the thighs, which is technically against the rules of mace fighting, but it hits that vulnerable spot and leads to his death.
It's fascinating how these patterns repeat. Are there other examples in the Mahabharata?
Oh, plenty. Think about Dronacharya. His vulnerability wasn't physical, but emotional. His love for his son, Ashwatthama.
Which Yudhishthira's lie exploited.
Exactly. It broke his will. And even Lord Krishna himself, his vulnerability was his toe or heel where Jara's arrow struck. The fated point.
It's like everyone has an Achilles heel in one way or another.
Pretty much. And Karna and Achilles themselves, they actually have quite a bit in common beyond just having a vulnerability.
Really? Like what?
Well, both were incredibly mighty warriors, deeply respected, even feared. Both fought for what might be seen as the wrong side, but are still hailed as heroes.
Karna fought for his friendship with Duryodhana.
And Achilles fought initially for Agamemnon, then for revenge for Patroclus. Both had periods where they were kept out of the main fight, too.
Right. Karna couldn't fight while Bhishma led, and Achilles withdrew after his argument with Agamemnon.
And their core weaknesses were different but defining. Karna had curses, gave away his divine armor. Achilles had the physical heel. It just underscores this idea that even the greatest aren't perfect, aren't untouchable.
So looking back at all this Krishna's end, the Pandavas' final journey, these parallels like Achilles, what's the big takeaway?
I think it's a profound reminder that, well, nobody's invincible. Everyone has vulnerabilities. Everyone faces the consequences of their actions, good and bad. Even divine beings aren't exempt from these cosmic laws, apparently.
It really challenges simple ideas of good versus evil or neat endings, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it highlights that while we can influence things, support others, we ultimately can't control destiny, others, or our own. Karma unfolds.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is, how does this complex tapestry of fate, choice, and consequence change your view, your understanding of justice, maybe forgiveness, and what that journey towards inner peace really looks like?
Yeah, it's a reminder that maybe the greatest victory isn't conquering the world outside, but conquering the battles within ourselves. Embracing the whole messy, complex human and sometimes divine experience